All right, now we are on to some relationship discussion. Toju Oluwatoyinbo is a teacher, a trainer, and a communicator, and she deploys her teaching gift as a relationship mentor to inspire couples in relationships and marriages. And today she will be talking about the topic, is age really a deal breaker in a relationship? But so the question now is, should age be a deal breaker, first of all?
Well,
does it really matter?
I used to think so at some point, and I'll tell you why. But right now that I've grown and I've seen life a bit more and different marriages and couples, I don't think it should. It should be a consideration, but not necessarily a deal breaker.
Why?
Yeah. So I used to feel if the girl is 19 or 20 or 21 and the guy is about the same age, and then she's more likely to want to get married, generally speaking now, want to get married in the next 2-3 years.
Okay.
And the guy is more likely not ready to get married in the next 1 to 3 years. So the question now becomes, so how long are we going to court? What are we going to be doing for the next 6-5 years? I spoke to someone who said she was dating someone when she was 18, 19, and he said he wanted to get married when he was 34. I'm like, what are we going to be doing here? So for me, that was my initial issue. If you're both about the same age, the guy at that time is usually not ready, and the girl is more ready. So it won't really work. And there are more relationship hazards if you are dating indefinitely, hoping that he will change his mind at some point.
All right, we're going to come back to that. But first, we live in not just in a country, in a world where, people frown at a relationship where the woman is older than the man because it is perceived that it's a man, it's a man's world. So technically, the man should be older than the woman, or they should be age mates, but not the other way around. What do you think about that?
I mean, my grandmother is 2 years older than my grandfather, and they've been married 62 years, right? And they're happy, they're good. So I think it's more of a question of motive. Why are you getting married to this person? There's some older men who want to get married to younger ladies to prove a point to themselves, to maybe boost their esteem, or they still have it going on, or whatever it is. And then there's this young woman who wants to marry an older man because he's established and she can ride off his success. These things might not be bad in themselves, but that should not be your only focus. Okay. So I feel the question now becomes, can you be the kind of man that I need, the kind of life partner that I need, whether you're young or old? Do you have the wisdom? Do you have the skill? Do you have the virtue to not fund my life now, but, guide and complement my life? And as the woman, do you have that support, that energy, that wisdom that I need as a man? And if we can go through that as mature human beings, so somebody isn't treating someone like a child and the other person isn't treating you like a lord, then I think we can begin to have an agreement. All
right. So now that you have brought that up, it's time that I think we address it. So it's not just the age being a number. It's a lot of other factors here that I think we need to address and see how, as couples or as people in a relationship, we find a way to close that gap. Yes. One of which is both having different intellectual wavelengths. How do you balance that in a situation where you're married to a partner who is, for example, in my case, 9 years older than?
Okay, so I know last week, and I think over the last 2 weeks, we've been talking about these conversations you need to have before you go into a relationship. Yes. Now, I found that some people are even too young to know that they should have these conversations before they get married. And here you are already married. There's some people who got married at 19, 20, 21, and they didn't even know they should be asking this kind of conversations, which is why I always talk about counseling. And people think counseling is overrated, but it's not. Right? And so now that you're in the relationship, you now need to start talking about these things. I think whoever it is, the lady or the man, needs to be willing to grow up, because you don't want your spouse to leave you behind. And it's not because the spouse is wicked or bad. It's because life is happening and the person is growing. And you don't want them to start having conversations with other people but you. You don't want them to exclude you from intellectual conversations because you can't deal with it. So you need to be willing to grow up, and they need to be willing to teach, to be patient, and to help you become that person, because you also deserve to be that intelligent anyway. So they might as well help you.
Wow, interesting that you would say, because in a situation where, because it's normal that this would raise, questions, and this would also raise conflicts in a relationship, in a marriage. So in a situation where the man, in this case, is not willing to help the partner, like, oh, okay, And or the partner in this, let's say the younger partner is not willing to, they're like, oh, leave me, oh, I'm the way I am, oh, I cannot change. In that kind of situation, like, oh, okay, you want me to, because it now becomes a case of, I want you to do this from the older person. And then, but she is, no, this is how I know how to do it. So why not wait for me to get to where you are, then know how to do. So how do you handle that? Because it can be very delicate.
Yes. I think there are 2-3 things involved there.
Yeah.
There's the personal issue. You yourself, you're not a patient person. Okay. Or you yourself, you're strong-headed. It's too strong. You're too hard-headed or hot-headed, as the case may be. So there's a personal issue that needs to be addressed. And I always say, look, whatever is happening in your marriage, your husband or your wife is not the enemy. You are on the same team. So whatever it is, you should be working towards making the marriage better. So that on that personal level, you need to say, calm down. This person isn't trying to attack me, hopefully. This person isn't trying to attack me. And the other person should be saying, you know what, I shouldn't be hard on this person. I should be working towards this. So there's a personal level on that. I always talk about third parties when necessary. If the person is open to it, if the person is not listening to you because you are the aburo in the house, you might need to talk to someone that he or she respects, that can guide them into talking with you better.
But now that you've brought the issue of respect, there's a thin line. Because in that kind of situation, there's a thin line between respect and being subservient, especially if you're the younger person in this relationship. Because there's already that gap, you find it difficult in communicating your true feelings, because you don't see this person as a friend. You don't see this person as a partner. You see this person as someone that is older than me.
These are pre-marriage issues that we should deal with. So that's when you're going into marriage, you're not going to say, yes, sir, and all of that. You already need to know that, yes, I'm going to respect you because I should respect people, and then I should respect you as my spouse, but I'm not going to... You see, there's the office of being a wife or a husband, and then there's the person. I'm just a person. So whether I'm young or not, respect that office that I'm in. So I'm going to tell you the truth. How be it in love, how be it in a language that you understand, so that I'm not saying as attacking you. But I'm going to hold my office and tell you that, fam, this is not going. My husband is older than me as well. my husband is older than me, almost 7 years older than me as well. But he's a pastor, he's a leader. Everybody defers to him. So I also had that issue at first where I couldn't speak my mind, because I mean everything he says has to be right? How do you come up against him? But I had to learn that I was going to be suffering in silence for a long time if I didn't learn how to address it. So I started to say, sir, please, I think actually perhaps it would be better if... Yes. And then over time, he got to know that, look, he's marrying me because I also have sense, actually. And so I'm here to compliment him. He has blind sides as well. So I was able to show him that, look, I got you. I can actually help you. I can do this. I'm not great at this, but I can help you with this. And in appreciating that, he could also now calm down and listen to me as well. And we've balanced out over time.
All right. I mean, this has been a great conversation so far. And this actually just brought to mind something that happened when I was in a relationship in school. So I was with this person and we're of the same age group. And unfortunately, we can't carry on this conversation. But what happened was, because I was more independent, I'd moved past intellectually, I had moved past him. And, you know, so there was that disconnect at some point. But anyways, I'm sure that people watching have been able to take away, you know, a thing or two from our conversation today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So this conversation, of course, is going to continue online on all our social media platforms at TVC Connect. And also you can reach at Toju Oluwatoyibo on her social media platforms as well if you have more questions on this topic. Thank you so much, and thank you. There's still so much more. Blessing Obasi coming up next with Mary and Titi. Stay with us.